Well, it is Thursday, and I am back in the office. I was in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania this morning. I'll be in Philadelphia tomorrow, but I'm back in the office right now in Morristown, New Jersey, finishing up a busy week for us, both in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Came out with a blog article regarding the Jalen Carter situation. Now, Jalen Carter, you may recall, was University of Georgia football player who was involved in a very serious traffic accident. He was charged with reckless driving and leaving the scene of an accident. In addition, there was a civil lawsuit filed recently against him. Now, Mr. Carter is now a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. It is unknown whether or not he will face NFL sanctions. I don't believe that he will, it's my understanding, because this occurred before he became a professional football player. But nevertheless, this case brings an opportunity to explain the civil versus criminal standard. Now, in the criminal courtroom where he was charged with not that serious of offenses, he was charged with misdemeanor, not felony crimes, but he pled no contest as opposed to pleading guilty. Now, procedurally, what that basically does is it didn't affect the outcome of the case, but it basically said that he was not accepting responsibility for what occurred. He was just simply saying that he was not contesting the charges. He was going to just, the prosecution put forth the evidence. He didn't put up a defense. Now, while in a criminal matter, in a criminal prosecution, the defense isn't required to do anything if you don't oppose the evidence at all. It's almost impossible to create reasonable doubt. Now, remember that in the criminal prosecution, as I detail in that most recent blog article, the burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt, and the burden of proof is on the prosecution. Now, in the civil case, which has been filed against Ms. Bowles, who was to my understanding, a former University of Georgia staffer, she has filed an action against Mr. Carter and the university itself. More than likely, that case will settle. I don't know what direction it's going to go in, but I doubt very much it'll go to trial. There'll be some confidential settlement, and I would imagine that she waited until after the criminal case was concluded, and also after Mr. Carter signed that very lucrative, likely NFL contract. In addition, the University of Georgia has deep pockets, so I would imagine that there will be some financial settlement. As far as the exact terms, we'll probably never know them. But remember that in a civil case, the burden of proof is much less. It's a preponderance standard, while the burden is on the plaintiff and the burden is not on the defendant. The plaintiff doesn't need to establish as much as the prosecution need to establish in a criminal case. Now, more than likely, the plaintiff, Ms. Bowles, will use the evidence presented by the prosecution in her civil case against Mr. Carter, where he pled no contest to reckless driving. Now, I know that the vehicle that she was in, the driver, the BAC was high. I believe the driver lost her life in that accident. So obviously a very, very serious case. It's unfortunate, but again, the reason why I bring it up is to present the difference between the civil and the criminal standard. If you are charged with a crime and the crime does involve some type of an injury to the victim, more than likely the victim may file a civil lawsuit against you, and more than likely your insurance will not cover it. Now, I'm not an attorney who focuses his practice on insurance, but most insurance policies do not cover intentional acts. They will, in some cases, cover reckless acts, but in this situation, it could be found that Mr. Carr was exercising gross negligence or just being reckless, and it is unknown whether or not his insurance would cover that. If he had insurance, I'm sure that he did, his car insurance, but I would imagine that they're seeking damages in excess of whatever the policy was. Once again, if you have questions, 215-755-9000 in Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, website gambleandlaw.com. As always, a tremendous resource for you and your family. All of my books, my blogs, my videos are available in one convenient format. I'm going to link in that article that I wrote on the Jalen Carter situation. It lays out criminal versus civil standard. It also talks about reckless driving and what that involves both in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. It's a very, very good article. It's very informative, like all of our blog articles. I posted very recently that at this point, last month, we had almost 3,000 views of our instructional videos. Almost 100 hours of our content was viewed last month alone. So it's great that people are consuming our content and getting out there. And we believe that an educated consumer is in the best possible position to receive a great result in a criminal case. But once again, if you have questions, 215-755-9000 in Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Have a great Thursday, and I'll talk to you all very soon.